Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, November the 18th. Just a little over a month till Christmas. November 18, 2015, show number 1070. I'm Shawn King.
And I'm Kim Guy.
Thank you very much for joining us, both Kim and for you guys, whether you're tuned in live during the show or you're tuned in to the archive. We like you guys listening, however it is that you so choose to listen. As always, send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com during the live show, or Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com during the week. If you want to send emails to Kim, her email address is kim@yourmaclifeshow. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com, as we always do. We've got Kim has her own little, I don't know, is it a rant? Would you call it a rant? Or a discussion?
No.
Neither.
No.
We're going to talk to Kim about Facebook versus Twitter. She got off both services last week, and she's come back to one of them, and we'll find out which one it was and why she did, her thoughts and opinions about both services. We're also, in our starting point photography segment, going to talk about taking the shot, why you shouldn't wait to take the picture. Don't think about the picture. Don't say, I'll come back to it tomorrow. Take it now, and I'll show you some examples of that a little later on. But the important news of the day, Kim, I don't know if you saw this. Hang on, let me just get this ready so that I can show this to you. A very important piece of information came out, I guess, earlier today, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions about this. This is me. This is me vamping while I try to get the page ready. Kim, the important information. Oh, God damn it! I was going to work.
David Beckham.
Is
2015's
2015 sexiest man alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that true? Is David Beckham the sexiest man alive?
No. I mean, the
this?
guys they pick over. I see this every year,
yes.
and I go, yeah, not bad. But they're always a bit too puny for me.
Puny? What does puny mean?
Puny, like they're a little bit petite.
Is Beckham petite? I don't know how big Beckham. I don't know how tall he is.
Beckham's not a big boy.
He's not?
And Adam Levine, he's a good-looking guy, but he's a bit puny. They're not very big.
So does that mean that they're not sexy?
Well, to lots of women they are,
mm-hmm.
and to their wives, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean they are in their own way, but they're not my cup of tea.
This kind of thing always fascinates me. This discussion of, especially with women, of who and what is sexy. I think he's certainly an attractive man. There's no doubt about that.
But you know what makes him sexy?
What?
Is he appears to be a good man, a good husband, a good father. And he has a sense of humor, and he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how
very attractive.
That's the way women would describe that, and men would never describe a sexy woman in those men.
No,
in those
sexy women have to have big boobs, lips, mouth to do whatever, long legs. Yeah. They don't give a shit what comes out your mouth.
You know that's not true, right? No. I honestly believe you don't have to have big boobs to be sexy. I think sexy comes from within.
For the majority of men, that is what they class as sexy.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree.
Whereas women the majority of women don't class sexy as just a good physique.
Yes, yeah. And that's certainly, there's the difference right there.
Yeah.
Is for men, certainly the physical, whatever you like in the physical makes you sexy. And for women, you're saying it's more than that. And other ladies out there where is Sherry? Sherry's not even here.
Hey, Dave D, what do you mean? I'm terribly insulted. How did I insult you? Because you're puny?
Brian Monroe, for guys, it's all about youth and beauty. For women, it's all about resources.
Resources? No, F you. We're not all gold diggers. No.
I'll defend Kim on that one. It's more of a impression about who you are as a human being, but for men, it certainly is about the physical. I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
And
It's always
it's
interesting.
not status or status, and it's not height, Height, either, Brian. Because I like short guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you date a guy that was shorter than you?
Sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Hang on. Brian's used a word I don't know the meaning of. Women are hypergamous?
Hypergamous? I think he's making that up.
How you say it?
Yeah, Brian, you have to define hypergamous. Because that's just a very good word that I've got a good vocabulary. I've never even heard that word before.
Yes, Dave D. Most men that I like are like you. Not that I know what you're like, but you say you require intelligence and a sense of humor. Yes, and your wife has both, which is awesome.
But
yes,
that's completely
a smart man.
That's completely different from. I mean, who we want to be partners is different from what we think is sexy. Right? You can think someone is sexy and not want them as a partner because they don't provide the other. Because you know, understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think of someone who I would think is sexy but would never want to marry.
Oh, like there's some good looking, sexy, voluptuous looking women, and then they open their mouth and they're like, you ask them their name and they're stuck for an answer. Yeah. Those kind of women, yeah.
Brian Monroe says he posts the Wikipedia entry. No, dude, what does that mean?
You used it.
Give us the definition. We're doing a show here. We can't be checking out Wikipedia during the show. Help work with us. D. Martin says she likes The Rock. Ooh. Wait for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Someone get me a fan for Kim because some said The Rock. But now The Rock is just pure sexy. There's no sensitive. There's none of that David Beckham stuff with The Rock. It's just physical.
Oh, no, he does.
Really?
He does because he doesn't take himself seriously. Like you've seen him do the Taylor Swift song, like that.
No, it was hilarious. Yeah.
That's sexy though, as well.
Really?
Oh, when a guy can take the piss out of himself and do shit like that. Oh.
Brian says hypergamy, colloquially referred to as marrying up. I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay.
Is a term used in social science for the act or practice of marrying someone who is wealthier or of higher caste or social status than oneself.
I've never managed to do that.
I have.
I haven't. You married up.
No. I mean, not just marry up, but be someone outside your weight class. And I'm saying that would describe you.
Oh. Thank you. I think.
See how hard this is, guys? See how hard this is? She makes it so damn hard. Oh, the other thing we're going to talk about on the show later on, too. Oh, the very British problems.
I know. There was a good one today on my Twitter about levels of getting lividness. And not everybody uses that word, but, you know, when you get livid, like you're angry, like really freaking pissed off. And a few of them made me laugh because I'm like, I use those so much. And one of them...
Hang on. First of all, I didn't notice it before. D8 says, my wife of 45 plus years is watching Survivor on TV. I'm watching YML Sexy Seniors. Your wife of 45 years? All right, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Tell your wife this, dude. 45 years that you've been married. That is remarkable. Congratulations. I'm always impressed with people who can build a relationship and keep a relationship for that length of time. So I'm very happy for you both and very proud. I know people who do that. So anyway.
Yes. Okay, Dave. D. Rising levels of lividness. Yes. Steady on. I don't use that because that's awfully English. That's
is it?
You've got a plum in your mouth. Oh, steady on.
Steady on. I've heard that.
F uses that anymore. Not me. Maybe the Queen. There's no need for that. I have used that, but that's more of as a parent, you would say that when you're getting angry. There's no need for that. Okay, stop them. This one I use a lot. I beg your pardon.
I love the British, that passive-aggressive way you guys do things. That you're really mad at somebody, and you would say it in that tone. I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon.
Which means I'm really pissed at you.
Yeah. Now look here. That's awfully as well. I wouldn't use that one. Excuse me? that one is a good one. and right.
Right. And
Right is the end, because that means I've had enough of this bullshit and I'm about to walk away or hit you or something. But right.
Right.
Yeah, we've come to the end of this. Yeah.
It's funny. It's
So
hilarious.
Dave D, that's right.
It's hilarious how you can take these terms that mean completely different things, but for the Brits, they're very specific. You would never say right unless you were mad at somebody, right? That's not a term you would use in any other situation. But for us, it was like, right, okay,
No, but it's not right. It's
right.
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 Yeah.
Monty points out that DH has been married for 2 less years than he's been alive.
Wow.
So again,
I know. Awesome.
Congratulations. Good for you guys. Apple TV. One of our Secret Santas is giving away an Apple TV on this show, the first week in December, whatever day that might be. Your entry forms are free. It doesn't cost you anything to go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com, right there at the top of the page. You simply click on the entry form, Friends of YML entry form. Fill out the entry form with a valid email. It sends me an email. I drop your name into our virtual hat. And then on the first Wednesday of December, we'll be doing a draw for a 64-gigabyte Apple TV. Thanks very much to our Secret Santa. You know who you are, and I appreciate you greatly for doing that. We're also going to be... an easier way to do it in a way that personally I prefer. Subscribe to Your Mac Life. Send us each month $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever it might be. Comes out of your major credit card or your PayPal account. It's easy. You never even see it again. You forget about it. And every week, every month it sends me money. I like this situation. And what happens is I put your name in the virtual hat for you. You don't got to do it. You don't do a thing. And for every $2 above the initial $2, you get an extra entry form. So if you subscribe for $4, you get 2 entry forms. You subscribe for $6, you get 3 entry forms, etc., etc., etc. So please do that. It helps me out. It pays for bandwidth, pays for lights, pays for computers, it pays for stuff that I will buy with your hard-earned dollars. So please subscribe to Your Mac Life if you can. Later on the show, we're going to be talking about taking the shot. Don't wait in our starting point photography segment. We're also going to be talking to Kim about about Facebook versus Twitter, which she likes best and why she likes them best. We had an interesting discussion about this afternoon, so hopefully we're going to again this evening. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com about the week's news. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King. Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday evening or on the archive as you so choose. Up next, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing? Jim! Why can't I hear Jim? I can hear you, but can the audience hear you? Why can't I hear Jim? Jim! Monty says what? Why can't I hear Jim? I can barely, like in the background at 0 level hear you, Jim. Hang on a second. That's odd. All right, Jim, try it now. Can I hear you now?
How about that?
There we go. What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
Kim's pointing at me like, you did it. Yeah, I did. I turned the volume up on the phone. How the volume get turned down on the phone, I only use once a week. I don't frickin' know, but it's turned up now. Not a whole lot of Mac news going on this week, but one thing that came out from Tim Cook's travels through Europe in the past week, Tim Cook stamps out MacBook iPad hybrid idea. Is that a good idea, Jim? Do you think that Apple should make a MacBook iPad hybrid?
No.
Why not?
Because it's just not time for it. I mean, we're not ready for that. Everybody keeps talking about whether the iPad will replace your laptop.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's a valid question, but I think we're asking it too much for the normal person, because in order for your iPad to replace your laptop, you have to want it to replace your laptop.
Yeah.
So me, for instance, I don't want my iPad to replace my laptop. That's not what I want an iPad for.
Yeah.
You know? So no matter what they do at this point, it's not going to replace my laptop. So one is used for one thing, one is used for another.
Yep.
And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the iPad being a complementary device, not a replacement device.
Yep.
So I don't see where everybody's going with this whole it can replace your laptop.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I agree. It's kind of a dumb discussion to have, because we don't often do this for other devices. For some reason, Apple is being forced, for lack of a better term, to justify their existence in this way. And there's no, as you said, there's no need for it. The iPad is the iPad. My MacBook Air is my MacBook Air. My MacBook Pro is a MacBook Pro. Use the tool that best fits your lifestyle without trying to force other tools. Stop trying to make a hammer a screwdriver. Use the hammer for hammer and the screwdriver for screwdriving.
Well, and in reviews and stuff, I've never been the person that forces myself to use a device to see if it can replace another device.
Yeah.
I've never done that, because if I have to force myself to use it, then it's not the device. You know? I mean, for some people, and I think for a growing number of people, the iPad will be the only computer that they need.
Yes.
I have no doubt about that. But for me, I'm not that person yet. And it's not because of the iPad. It's because I'm not at that point where I want to or need to replace a computer with an iPad.
Yeah.
I use my iPad for different things, and I'm good with it.
I think the key statement that Cook makes in his comments was, putting those two things together, the tablet and the Mac, would not achieve making it the best tablet in the world and the best Macintosh in the world. It would definitely be a compromise device. He says you'd begin to compromise in different ways. I think that's the key for Apple. I believe that if Apple thought they could do it without compromise, they absolutely would do it. But they know, or at least right now, for any number of reasons, there's going to be a lot of compromise. I don't know if I want I don't know if I want the Mac OS on an iPad. The Mac OS is designed to be a keyboard and mouse interface. The iPad is designed to be a touch interface.
Somebody else is already trying that, and it's not working.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the Surface had some great ideas. The keyboard on the cover, but I've said all along, one of the ideas that I don't think was so great was one operating system for two different fundamentally different devices.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't see how one device can do both things at this particular time.
Yep.
Could be a time in 3 or 5 or 10 years when one device will do it all, but we just aren't there yet. And I'll tell you, I mean, I go between a 12-inch MacBook and a MacBook Pro, and I love them.
Yeah.
I really do. You know, I'm not ready to give up my desktop or laptop operating system and devices. I'm not ready to do that, and I don't need to. And these people that are trying to force themselves or say the iPad is not ready to replace your desktop, well, I think that's a given.
Yeah.
But if you talk to a lot of people, it will replace it. So, it all depends on who you talk to and what you do.
Yeah.
So the people that are making the proclamations that it will or won't, those are personal choices.
Yeah.
They're personal decisions. It doesn't mean that it's right for you. It all depends on what you do with it.
Dave D says, hang on, Dave D, good question. Hang on before I get to it. For me, it's a matter of the things I do and hopefully do well on my iMac or my MacBook Air are things I couldn't do well on an iPad. The things I do well on the iPad are things I don't want to do on the Air. For example, I can write much better and much faster on the iMac with a keyboard than I ever could with any iPad. That's just fact. It's a physical keyboard. It's a mouse. I can cut and paste. I can do WordPress stuff that I can't do very easily on the iPad. But the reverse is also true. I can't or don't want to sit on the couch with my laptop in my lap or lying in bed with my laptop on my chest when I can use the iPad, which is a much more comfortable device to use in those situations. Use the best tool for the job at hand. Stop trying to make one tool fit every single job.
I agreed.
Dave D says, Shawn, ask Jim about the weight of the iPad Pro with a smart keyboard versus a MacBook. Have you even tried to make that comparison or even noticed it?
No, I haven't tried to make that comparison. I know that the iPad Pro with the keyboard, it's, I won't say that it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavier than iPad. And the keyboard certainly does add some heft to it. But, I think when you're looking at devices like that, like a MacBook or an iPad Pro, it's like carrying around a magazine,
yeah.
size-wise and, maybe weight-wise a bit more. But it's like carrying around a magazine. So is it a really big deal? No, not to me. I mean, when I travel or when I do things, I mean, the MacBook is so small and light, I just throw it in the front pocket of my carry-on now. I don't even carry a backpack anymore.
Yeah.
So I have an iPad, I have my phone, I have a MacBook. If I need the MacBook, it's there and I can pull it out.
And I think some of us, too, remember the days of lugging around a 17-inch MacBook Pro that weighed like 17 pounds. So I'm good with an iPad that weighs the same as the original iPad. I'm fine. It's not, to me, it's not that heavy.
No, not at all. And, I think for me, when people say, okay, well, when you're away, when do you use your MacBook?
Yeah. It's
when I need to get something done really quick. And because I have more experience with a computer, obviously, I will pull up my MacBook, and if something's going on the site or whatever, I'll take care of it right there. Because I know where to go, I know how to do it, and it gets done quickly. But if I'm in a hotel room or whatever, yeah, I could just as easily pull out an iPad.
Yep.
And still enjoy what I'm doing, still get done everything that I need to get done. That's what it's about.
And that's the key to me. I agree. Last week, Apple had some severe issues with the Mac App Store in a signing issue. They haven't said anything about it. They sent an apology from Apple. This is Apple Insider. Apple apologizes to developers for Mac App Store certificate flap. Explains the fix. The key for me of this is Apple apologizes to developers. Shouldn't Apple be apologizing to its customers too?
Oh yeah, they should be apologizing to everybody at that point. No.
You know that's not what I mean. Now, come on.
Well, no, I mean, they should. I'm serious.
Okay. Yeah.
They should be apologizing to everybody.
This kind of ticked me off that Apple was apologizing directly to developers. Now, I know Apple would assume, rightly so, that anything they sent to developers would get immediately posted on Medium and Marco's site and anything and any of the number of other websites. Maybe Apple's thinking the message will get out to customers that way. That, to me, isn't good enough. I think Apple should have had something on its website, front page, a little link, if not the whole damn thing, saying, hey, folks, we screwed this up. Here's how we screwed it up. Here's how to fix it.
I don't think that they needed to do that. I think in that note, they should have, they could have said, we apologize to customers too. But if you look at it from Apple's standpoint, in actual fact, Apple's customers are the developers. Those are Apple's customers.
True.
We are the developers' customers.
Yes.
So, I mean, we know because of, and as a customer, I know that this is not an issue that the developer caused, because it's all over the news that Apple caused it. So, am I upset with my am I upset with my developer? No. But, is it kind of a pissy thing that all of a sudden, I open up Reader and it says there's a certificate issue, go re-download it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of a pain in the butt, but it didn't happen with very many for me. So I wasn't that concerned about it. Yeah, they had a glitch. Show me a company that doesn't have a glitch.
Yeah, and but the problem,
but hold on now. It wasn't like it was. Oh yeah. By the way, we had this thing where we had a privacy issue and we sent out everybody's credit card information.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. There was a certificate issue. Yes, it's bad. Yeah, that's a silly thing to have happen, and I'm sure that they whipped some developer relations guy because it happened. But it's not like some of the other things that we're seeing going on. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. They apologize to their customers, which are the developers, and we move on.
But by your logic, you're saying that the developers should then apologize to their customers. No, that wouldn't be fair. The developers were just slammed by people, because if Reader stops working, you don't write Apple, you write the developer a Reader. So the developers over the weekend were just slammed by their customers posting reviews on the Mac App Store saying, oh, this app is crap, kind of thing.
And Apple should do something to correct that on the store as well. They need to make sure that this is right.
Yes.
For their customers, who are the developers. That's how I see it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I know you're not a big wordsmith. Words are hard for you, but you didn't hear Kim laugh out loud on that one. Tears of Joy emoji wins Word of the Year from the Oxford English Dictionary. Is this a catastrophic thing for our race that suddenly the word of the year isn't a freaking word?
Yeah.
It just drove me nuts when this thing popped up on the news the other day. It was like, it's not a word!
Yeah, I mean, come on.
How the hell can I take the Oxford English Dictionary, a dictionary which I've used and loved for many, many years? How can I take you seriously when you're not choosing words as word of the year? Yeah. Now, I will be the first to admit part of it's my problem with emojis. I freaking hate emojis.
Yeah, I think that, when an emoji becomes Oxford Dictionary word, then we're done.
That's right. There's something wrong there. Now, you know what? And Kim made a good point. She said, she asked me, and I told her about this. She said, you mean the word emoji is the word of the year? I said, I could understand if the word emoji was the word of the year, I think it'd be stupid, but I can understand why they would have picked it. But no, they actually picked a. So now, is the emoji going to be in the Oxford Dictionary? Are they going to put a little picture of the tears of joy in the Oxford Dictionary? How do I look that up? You know, it's just.
And who is it that chooses that? I mean, is it the professor's kids or grandkids
Exactly.
or what? I mean, who chooses that?
Now, the emoji beat out several other words and phrases, including refugee. Okay, I get that. On fleek. No, don't put that in the frickin' dictionary. Dark web. You think dark web should have been a word of the year?
No.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
a
enough.
thing, not a word.
It's a concept that I don't think the vast majority of people have ever even heard of, let alone understand. Sharing economy, could that have been a word or phrase of the year?
No. No.
The one that confused me that I don't understand why they would have chosen it, why it was even in the running, was lumbersexual. The hell is a lumbersexual?
That's every Canadian.
That's right. That's just an alternate word for Canadian.
I mean, it's man or woman. I mean,
absolutely.
Every Canadian. Yeah.
That was just just drove me nuts. I'm thinking, this is why the world's going to hell in a handbasket when the word of the year is frickin' an actual icon.
Yeah.
The thing I remember when Apple Music first came out, so 3-4 months ago, you mentioned that you had signed up to all the services. You were a Spotify guy, you were a Pandora guy, you were a radio guy. Now, radio has gone under. It's been bought up by the folks at was it Pandora? I think bought the
Pandora, yeah.
Pandora bought
Pandora, and I think it's wonderful.
Really? Okay. First of all, from your opinion, why did radio die? Lack of customers?
I just think there was just too many services out there, and I don't think that they had enough to set themselves apart. I mean, Spotify was huge; everybody knew Spotify, so they had that. Pandora is huge, and Pandora is awesome, so they had that. Pandora is probably the best algorithmic service I've ever seen.
Really interesting. I didn't know that.
It is insanely good. If you put a song in as a seed song, like put in an Aussie song or an AC/DC song, and say, "Play me songs like this," it will play you nonstop songs that you like.
Okay,
absolutely guaranteed. I love the thing.
Yeah, that's crucial to me too. It's one of the reasons why I'm listening to Apple Music less and less in that kind of format, is because that's what I want. I want to be able to say, "Hey, I'm in this kind of mood. Play me this kind of mood stuff." And the problem is,
right on,
when it screws it up, it takes you out of the mood. It completely ruins that musical moment for you. It's not that bad, but it's still just sort of, what the hell is that doing in this playlist?
Yeah.
So how did radio compare to other services in good or bad?
Well, I think that was part of it. It did okay.
Yeah.
It did okay. It wasn't one of the ones that, and in fact, I had actually canceled it. It wasn't one of the ones that I used a lot because it did okay. Pandora did phenomenal. Spotify did okay. Apple Music sucked. So, you're kind of looking at, so I dropped Spotify. I kept Pandora.
Yeah.
I dropped RDO. I mean, you have to make a choice. And for me, it's all about what's working. The fact that Pandora could take that service that it has and the algorithms that it uses and also have an on-demand music service, holy crap.
Yeah.
That will be unbeatable. Unbeatable. Guarantee it. If Pandora can get those licensing deals, holy shit. It is going to be unstoppable as the best music service.
That's obviously the key is that. That being said, do you think they will be able to, or do you think that there's sort of maybe a burnout in the music industry of licensing all these things?
No, I think that they will be able to. And I think that they will be able to because I think they're pretty powerful, too. They have a lot of users. I'm a subscriber to Pandora. You can use it for free with ads. But I subscribe to it because it's so good that I'll pay to not have the ads, and they're not that bad, the ads. But I'll pay not to have them. I'm paying more to support them. Because it's a pretty cheap subscription, too. So
I wonder how many people are doing that kind of thing. I just had that mental thought of I wonder how many people, because the ads aren't so bad if you're old timers like us who are used to listening to traditional radio and we're used to having 3 songs come on and then 3 ads come on and then 3 songs come on. It's not that unpleasant for us, especially if the ads are local or at least relevant to you. I wonder how many people are actually paying for these kinds of things just to support the service, just to hopefully keep the service going. I wonder if it's a significant number of people who feel that way.
Well, that's a good question, and I don't know. I think, we all know developers, and have known developers for a long time, and I have always believed that you pay your for your software, you pay for your music. Developers will obviously, if we're writing about something, they'll give us a free copy or whatever. But if I see something out there that I want on the App Store, I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah.
And if it's really good, then I'll tell people about it. If it's really bad, I will tell people about it. And I don't care if the developer gives me a copy or not. I will tell people if it's good or bad. And there are some products that I like, and whatever.
Sorry, that mic thing was all me. Kim's got a question for you.
Shoot.
So, Jim, you've tried Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora, and you said that other one, Radio, that doesn't exist anymore. But what's the difference? Do you just try them because they're free, like most people? We all do, whatever's free. But what's the difference? Is one better than the other or easier than the other to use?
Well, see, that's the whole thing, really. Right now, we're in a position where a lot of the services they look the same. The apps look the same. They act the same. And then it comes down to a matter of who has the music that you want and what the algorithms are like for either in Spotify and Apple Music playlists, or what are the algorithms like for radio, where streaming like Pandora does. And that's why I pay for Pandora, because it is the absolute best, bar none. It's the best out there. And I gave up on Spotify because Spotify was okay, but I realized that I really didn't need all of the services that it offered. Mm-hmm. So, Pandora is much better at the radio part of it, so I'll use Pandora.
Good question.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Thanks.
Let's move on. I love this story. It comes up every now and then, and it's the story that I would use for anybody who, whenever they say, "Yeah, but Android sells more phones around the world than any other devices." Well, congratulations to Android. Apple, 94% of global smartphone profits on only 14.5% of unit sales. I don't think the Android crowd really grasps this idea that with less than 15% of the sales of the global smartphone market, Apple is vacuuming up. Apple's a black hole sucking in 95% of the profit. That is truly amazing.
And all the Android people that don't get that, all they have to do is think, how did I get my phone? Oh, I bought one for $9 and got 3 for free for my family.
That's right.
I mean, that's, and sign up for Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile and get a free phone and a free tablet.
That's right.
I mean, come on. Just ask yourself how you got your phone.
Yep.
People that have iPhones either got, one of the plans. They bought it. They pay for it monthly. They bought it outright. They have an unlocked one. Whatever it is, they paid for it.
MacMan says,
and that's not how it happens with the Android phone.
MacMan says, I found an Android phone in my box of cereal the other day.
There you go. See?
When
and there was probably another one down a bit further. Keep digging.
When I moved from Portland to Calgary, we stopped in Missoula, Montana to overnight there because it was snowing. It was the weather was ugly, and we went to just like a Days Inn, a Red Roof Inn, just a cheap little hotel motel by the side of the highway kind of thing. And the woman said to me as we signed in, she said, "Are you a member of our reward program?" Like, no, I've never been in your hotel before. I'm never going to be in your hotel ever again. I said, no, I'm not. She said, well, if you sign up today, I'll give you a free Android phone. And she had a stack of Android phones behind her. It's like, that's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Why would I sign up for your reward program to get this shitty-ass phone?
Yep.
That's how folks, that's how Android has the largest market in the world when it comes to percentage of people who have smartphones. Have the vast majority are Android phones, and Apple doesn't give a rat's ass about that stuff. Because the other thing is, think about it this way: if Apple's making 95% of the profit on 15% of the phones sold, as Apple increases its market share, which it might, then it's going to increase its profit share too. Or if they lose market share, they're still vacuuming up a shitload of money.
And let's not forget that leaves 5% profit in the entire market of 5 different companies.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing people don't realize. Go ahead.
When you see Samsung's mobile profits drop by 60% per quarter, that's why.
Exactly. And what that also means is that nobody else is making money on smartphones. Nobody.
Right.
HTC, Nokia, Microsoft, no one's making a dime because the black hole of Apple is sucking it all up. And make no mistake, Apple is completely fine with this. They have no problem with this whatsoever. Wall Street doesn't see it that way. Android users don't see it that way, but who cares? Apple sees it that way, and they're fine with the whole process.
Well, I think we all know at this point that Wall Street are just morons.
Yeah, no kidding. I posted this story on the Loop on Monday. It's just one of those things that I do because I get a little homesick at times. I don't know if you do, living in California. The prettiest place you've never heard of, and it's Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Besides your family, which is obvious, do you miss anything about Nova Scotia?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
No, I am proud to be a Canadian. I am. But when I think of Nova Scotia, I think cold.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I think of, cold.
Cold, that's right. When I was there a couple of years ago and thought, you know what, I should move back to Halifax. I love Halifax. My family is here. I should move back. And I thought, oh, yeah, it still snows here. So, no, I'm staying in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting story, folks. If you ever want a family vacation that's really fun and different and interesting, the road around Cape Breton is called the Cabot Trail, one of the most beautiful roads in the world. Nova Scotians, besides Jim and I, are friendly, wonderful people, and great food, time of year, fall, spring, summer. If you get a chance, go to Nova Scotia. I bring this up because there was a news story that a lot of folks thought was somehow important, that Apple Pay is coming to Canada. Woohoo! Except it's only with American Express. Do you know anyone who has an American Express card in Canada, Jim?
No.
I don't know a single person who uses American Express in Canada.
No.
And now a lot of folks don't realize the reason is because, unlike the States, where you can get a MasterCard directly from MasterCard the company, our laws are different up here in Canada. I can't get a MasterCard from MasterCard.com. I have to go through my bank to get a MasterCard.
Right.
So you get a CIBC MasterCard or a Royal Bank of Canada Visa you have to go through the banks to get them. So that's why Apple Pay isn't coming to Canada probably for another year or so until Apple works out all those deals with these
Well,
various
it's
Canadian banks.
the Canadian banks thinking that they own the world,
Yep.
and they don't,
The other story, the other thing I wanted to ask you, Jim, right now on your cell phone, do you have medical ID set up on your cell phone, on your iPhone?
No.
Please do that.
Oh, wait. No, I don't.
Everyone should do that. It's real easy to do. You go into the health app, you just fill out whatever information you want. You don't have to put in all the information, but at the very least put in a contact info, because what happens is, God forbid you're ever in an accident where you can't communicate to the EMTs. If they know about this, they can get contact information and medical health information from your phone without having access to anything on your phone. For those folks who are curious, if you turn your phone on and swipe, you'll see emergency in the lower left-hand side. When you click on emergency, then in the lower left-hand side is a medical ID. Now, I have no access to the phone in any other way, shape, or form, but I've got important information that I choose to give to emergency folks. So, yeah, definitely, Jim, turn on the medical ID.
I'll do that.
Folks, we've been talking to Jim Dalrymple in the Loop at loopinsight.com. He has two of his own podcast, The Dalrymple Report and Amplified, both available on the iTunes store. Thanks for joining me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shawn.
Have a good night. See ya.
Bye.
That was a good question. What made you ask that question?
Because I love music,
Yes.
like Jim does. I mean, he likes music because he plays music.
Yep.
But I want to know, what is it? Do we just go for whatever's free for a month, the trial period? Or which one is, because he's used all of them,
Yes.
which one's better? Which provides you with the better choice of music, or which is easiest to use, or download the stuff you want, or hear what you want? Because I like music.
I think the key is that there's this thing. Do you understand what the concept of pain points are?
Pain point?
Pain points. Yeah.
Pain
Yes.
or paying?
No, pain. Pain.
Like here?
The idea of a pain point is, how much are you willing to put up with this thing before it gets too painful? At what point does it get too painful? So the idea is, so you sign up for a free service, Pandora. Let's say use Pandora as an example. And it's free. So you use Pandora, but the ads are too annoying for you. So you either switch services or you start paying for Pandora. That's
Right.
the pain point.
Okay.
And only you know what your pain point is.
Right.
Maybe, for example, we'll talk about this a little later on, maybe your pain point is the interface. Maybe you don't like the way you access radio, or the way Spotify
Yeah.
makes you get to things.
Okay, so everybody's different.
Exactly.
So it's hard
That's
to
the problem.
ask someone. Right.
The thing is, though, all this stuff is free. It's available on the Macintosh. It's available on the PC. Try them. Go to Pandora.com, download their software. Go to Spotify.com, download their software. Try it out.
Right.
See if you like it. Search around. What I always do with these kinds of things is, because I've got older musical taste, the old R&B and soul I was talking about, that's the stuff I want to listen to. I'll do a search to see if they've got Barry White. I'll do a search to see if they've got old Jack Johnson music or old Muddy Waters stuff. And if the service doesn't have that, I'm done. I leave it. I don't use it. So what you can do, and maybe this is a project you can do for the listeners, is go ahead and start using the services, making notes of what you like and what you don't like about the services. And in a month's time, come back in the show and say, hey, I've chosen this, or I like this, I don't like this, or I like this so much, I'm paying for it. And most of them, I think, are $10 a month.
Yeah.
Which, when you're unemployed like we are, that's a little too much. But maybe the free stuff isn't too offensive to you. But yeah, you got to try them all. Ow, jeez, that hurts. Yeah, sorry about the sound thing. When Kim came on, I have her microphone turned off when it's just Jim. But I've been trying to encourage her to ask questions of Jim if she has a question. So when she turned her microphone on, it popped like that. That was
We
nice.
have to change one of those pictures of Jim, though. Does Jim ever look at this afterwards? I know
No,
he talks,
no.
but he doesn't look, does
No.
he? That one. Get rid of that one.
Why?
I don't like that one.
But he likes it.
No, it makes him look angry.
He likes
and
looking angry.
No.
Yes, he does.
No, he looks angry and sad and ill, like the bags under his eyes. No.
He
I like all the others, but no.
He likes that photo. How about this one? You like this one?
Yeah, that one's okay. That
I
looks
like-
cool.
yeah.
I like that one.
All right,
That's
all right.
cool. Cool dude. I like that one.
Brian Monroe. He looks like a homeless guy in that photo.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Jim. This is 10 years ago. I had seen Jim. Okay, this is a picture of Jim and I at the Paris Expo in France.
No beard.
That may be the only extant picture of Jim Dalrymple without the beard. Zero beard. No mustache, no nothing.
He looks like a nerd there.
He really does.
I really like him with the beard. That's all I'm going to say. I really like him with the beard.
So I'd seen Jim a couple other times when he was just growing the beard in, and it was a normal, everyday beard. And then it was maybe 3 or 4 years, and I hadn't seen him. We're at a Macworld Expo. We're at some sort of event, and I'm outside having a cigarette, and it's me and Ian Schrey and a couple other people that have been on the show. And I feel someone walk up beside me. And out of the corner of my eye, I can see it's a homeless guy. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ignore the homeless guy. I'm not going to. I don't give homeless people money. I don't communicate with them. I just no. Sorry. And the people who were standing in front of me were looking over my shoulder because the homeless guy apparently was doing this, like getting closer and closer to me. I'm like, okay, if the homeless guy touches me, I'm going to punch him right in the face. Finally, I feel the homeless guy's beard on my neck. I was like, okay, that's it. I turned and looked and went, Jim, and he just breaks up laughing because he does. He looks homeless. That's an ugly, ugly beard.
No, it's a good beard.
No, it's not a good beard.
It's a ZZ Top, rocker, Harley Davidson. I like that beard.
You, about 2-3 weeks ago, partially my own fault, and I'll be the one to admit it, we're driven off of social media. We're driven off of Facebook and Twitter.
It wasn't you.
Okay, fine. I see a dark path. Don't go down it. Go down this way, Shawn. Oh, it's well lit over here. Let's go over here. So you made the decision to no longer be on Facebook, no longer be on Twitter.
Which I also did almost a year ago, not quite a year ago, before I knew you.
Oh, both Twitter and Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I went off Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all of them, because I didn't want the contact with my ex or seeing things and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, just want none of it, none of it. Okay, so then I finally thought, okay, I'll go back on Facebook. And I went back on Twitter first with the YML account that you set up for me.
For those who are curious, it's YML_Kim.
Yeah. So I did that and went back on Facebook. And I thought, okay, Facebook's pretty good because some of my relatives that are down under, they post some stuff. And it's kind of cool for me to see my niece and her kids and everything. It's like, cool. But, really, I was just like, and it wasn't you. It's just like Facebook. It's just so full of narcissistic, for the most part, people that are just posting, look at me, I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, and I'm doing the other. It's all like, yeah, I just farted, big deal, whatever. But Twitter, I went off there, but really I wasn't as happy about just deleting Twitter as I was Facebook, because Twitter, I'm like, I kind of like a lot of the people that I follow on Twitter. And the thing is, most of the people I follow on Twitter are people I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
They're people like all you guys.
And yet people,
YML guys.
most people you follow on Facebook, people you do know.
Right.
That's kind of interesting.
Which are like, So, yeah, I just decided, no, I definitely can do without Facebook.
Yeah.
But I really like Twitter. And it just made me go, why? Why is that? Mm-hmm. Why do I like Twitter? Is it because it's short and sweet? Is it because most people that can express themselves on Twitter are intelligent and smart? Or, I don't know.
I think the key is, and this is always really interesting to me, whenever we talk about this, either with you or on the show or with complete strangers, that people don't get the idea, and it's not because they're stupid or anything else like that, but they don't get the idea that both Facebook and Twitter are what you make of it.
True.
Because you choose who to follow on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You choose who to follow on Facebook.
Right.
Sorry, on Twitter. So anytime I heard someone say, Twitter's boring, well, that's because you made it boring. That's because you didn't find people that made it interesting to you.
But I have a comment.
Yes.
Because I think the problem is, and you're absolutely right, but originally, I think when Facebook first came out, everyone used it as a friends thing, because you befriend people on Facebook. So it was like, I had to already know you. And really, we don't want to know when our friends fart and shit and eat and don't eat.
Well,
you know what I mean? I don't. But anyway, whereas Twitter is more, you go, okay, I don't know. And you pick something that you do think, oh, I'll be interested in that, or I like that, or I find that interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Glenn Ramsay just retweeted something about, I can't remember the account name, but I decided to follow them because I thought, oh, that's interesting. It's like it's science things, it's facts. It's about how it's the only liquid that when it's in a solid form is lighter.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I thought, oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
But it's interesting because the thing I asked you.
But you don't think to do that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't think to follow a science Facebook page or a cute pug's Facebook page.
Why not?
I don't know. I've always thought of Facebook as, oh, it's people I know or people, friends or people like, So I think that's where the difference is.
I think part of it too is that people communicate differently on Facebook than they do on Twitter. Twitter is you're forced by 140 characters, so you've got to be short and sweet and pithy. Whereas people on Facebook can write just long screeds of stuff that I don't give a rat's ass about. Also, I've chosen the people I know on Twitter very carefully, if only because I'm on Twitter 24/7, and I use Twitter as a communication medium, as a conversation medium. It's not just bleh. It's I put something out there because I want someone to comment on it, to ask me about it, to question it, to add their own flavor to it. And I like having that back and forth on Twitter. It's it's one of the reasons why I've got over 115,000 tweets. It's not because that's me tweeting 115,000 times. It is, but it's because I'm having a conversation with other people about
waffling.
It. It's not waffling. Shut up. Whereas Facebook, I don't have those conversations on Facebook with people for whatever reason. The other thing is but the biggest thing for me is interface. I frickin' hate Facebook's interface. I hate it with a blinding passion of a red-hot 1,000 suns.
That's what Dave D just said.
I don't like it on the web. I don't like their iPad app. I don't like their iPhone app. I don't like the way Facebook makes me do things. Whereas I like the way Twitter allows me to do things. So for me, that's the difference. On neither, and the other thing is too, and I don't know if this makes the difference, I only follow people on Facebook who I have met. I may not know you as a friend, but it's somebody I know.
Right.
That may be a listener to the show. Maybe it's someone I like. It may be
that doesn't help me.
That's right. You don't like people. But on Twitter, I will generally follow anyone interesting. I may never have met you.
Yes. Yeah.
As long as I'll see a Twitter account. I'll go to their page. I'll read their first page of tweets, and if any of those tweets interest me, then I'll
You're
sign
the
up.
only person on my Twitter account of all the people I follow that I know.
No, Vito is the other.
Oh,
one.
Vito.
Yeah.
Yes, I have met Vito. That's it.
That's it.
2 out of 30 odd or something.
But when you said that you were doing that, I thought it was really interesting to get your opinion about why you were doing that. And I don't think we figured it out. If you folks have any comments, send us email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Which do you prefer? Are you a Facebooker versus a Twitter? Do you care? Do you use them both equally? Generally, when I post stuff, I'll often try to post to both Facebook and Twitter at the same time, and I almost always get more commentary from Twitter than I do Facebook. Now, that may be because I follow fewer people follow me on Twitter.
But I think it's because, like you say, the Facebook thing, sometimes people that follow a lot of people on Facebook, it doesn't come round. Like, they have to scroll through, and it takes forever, and they go, like, 2 days later, they see shit. It's like I was pissed off when I was on Facebook that my relatives in Australia didn't comment about me losing my job, a few months ago.
Yeah. And that hurt you.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Really
and yet all my Twitter friends that don't know me from Adam were like, oh, that's really shitty, Kim,
That's a good point.
And I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah, that was very hurtful of your family not to say so. They saw it.
But did they? That's what I mean. Because of the way Facebook is, and there's reams and reams of shit, did it come up
of Twitter,
the way
too.
it... I don't know. It's just the layout of Twitter.
But on Twitter, you follow, I think, about 60 people. I'm just guessing.
Maybe not that many.
Maybe not that many. So when you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning, you can still catch up to the other folks.
Yeah, but Brian's right. Facebook's newsfeed does not show everything, whereas Twitter shows everything. And it always says, while you were gone, Twitter's good that way.
Dave D says, if I unfollow you on Twitter, are you offended? No.
No.
If I unfriend you on Facebook, oh damn, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's
It's
also
like-
not true. It depends on the person. If someone unfollows me on Twitter, I'm okay with that.
But I think most of the people on Facebook, and that's why I'm off it, are very much me.
But again, is that because those are the people that you follow?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I think it's an interest for me. It's
How much shit do you put on Facebook? Not much. You don't.
maybe 1 or 2 things a day.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like I don't know, the people I can relate to, that and I'm trying to word it nicely, people I can relate to don't post a lot of shit on Facebook if they're on Facebook, whereas everyone else puts like fluff on there. Yeah.
Have you set up medical ID on your iPhone?
Yeah, I did what you told me to do.
Good. I want everyone to do that. Well, especially for us, we're motorcyclists. You know, and if you get into a car accident and the airbags deploy and you're like sitting there, oh, God, this really sucks, you can pick up your phone out and dial 911. If we're on a motorcycle and we go down, odds are you ain't getting up real fast. You know, that's what happened to me when I had my motorcycle accident in Calgary, was the EMTs, first thing they did was ask me, do you have an iPhone? I said yes, because they told me not to move. I'd landed and my broken arm was behind me, and my head was face down on the ground, and I knew enough not to move. I knew nothing was broken or hurt. I knew I hadn't hurt my back. There was no pain. I could feel my extremities, but I knew the EMTs had to do things their own way, so I wasn't going to move. And they said, do you have an iPhone? I said, yeah, it's in this pocket, and that's how they found my name, my birth date, medical history, whether I was allergic to penicillin, contact info, all that kind of stuff. The problem was when they dialed the contact info number, the other person in the accident's phone rang. Kind of useless. Don't have the contact info be the person you're having the accident with.
Well,
that's
yeah.
kind of useless.
But if you can talk, that's a bonus
Sure,
for
absolutely.
any EMT people.
Oh, absolutely. But if you can't talk, these EMTs knew to look on my phone for medical ID information. If I couldn't have talked, they would have gone through my pockets looking for a phone. But it's really easy to use. There's no security risk. They can't access anything else in your phone except 911 and your medical ID information. And they can't access any other medical information except what you put in to the medical ID section. So if you don't want to put in that you're allergic to this or whatever it might be, you don't have to. Obviously, it helps. But yeah, I encourage everyone to set up medical ID on your phone. Shoot, I lost the story. You had Matt long before cell phones. If let's assume that you are, I know it's not true. Just calm down. Don't everyone get all upset. If you had a child now, at what age would you allow them to have a phone?
Probably 10.
Would you? And the reason why I'm asking is because you are you would be the average parent.
Very average parent.
Would you? No. You're a great parent. You raised a fantastic son. Matt's a great
And daughter.
guy. And daughter. I've
my
never
stepdaughter.
I've never
Yeah.
met her. I don't know. All I know is Matt. I know
She's
Matt's
awesome.
I know Matt's a great guy. Mm-hmm. But you're the average person from a point of view of technology. Mm-hmm. Would you have concerns about giving, let's say, use for example, an iPhone to a 10-year-old?
No.
Why not? There are some bad things on the interwebs.
So they have access to computers and laptops as well.
Do you know what parental controls are?
Yeah.
Would you?
Though I've never used any.
You never had to. Yeah.
No, because I talk to my kids.
Yeah.
I talk to my kids.
There was a story on.
I don't need to pretend it doesn't exist, but then block them from seeing what I'm pretending doesn't exist.
There's a story on CBC, Smartphones and Children. Unstoppable trend leaves parents with questions and fears. And in a lot of ways, cell phones are great for kids for communicating to the parents. Parents can turn on Find My Friends, so I know where the kid is. Yeah. I'm going to pick the kid up after school, but there's a car accident. I can text my kid, honey, sorry, Dad's going to be a little bit late. Wait 15, 20 minutes kind of stuff. So you can communicate back and forth. The downside is your kid, in theory, could sign up for Facebook and his own Twitter account.
Yeah.
But what you said, I think, is key. Someone said on The Loop, I thought the commenter on The Loop made a great, he says, I know how addicted kids get to these devices. It scares me to see the kind of magnetic attraction the iPhone, my iPad, even my Apple Watch has for his young child, 15 months. Someone says, when I do give iPhones to my kids, a list of apps will be highly curated, restriction settings will be carefully combed, and do not disturb settings to allow calls only from certain approved contacts. It's not a bad idea. But this guy has a really interesting comment. No restrictions from a software perspective. We recently gave our oldest daughter a used iPhone 5S. She'll be 10. Sorry. Yeah, she'll be 10 in a few months. He says, my wife and I sat down with her and stepped through the setup process and every switch and settings. We explained and asked questions to make sure she understood. She asked questions about what could happen, and without any fear-mongering, we told her. That's the way to do it. You don't just hand the kid this powerful device.
You tell them the reality of it.
You tell them the reality of it, and also is you tell them what your expectations are. Zero Shade 10
how to use it.
Said, we really only find out when the kid makes an error as prying into a phone that's owned by the child, especially as they get closer to that 17, 18-year-old mark, feels like an invasion of privacy. Now, I disagree with that. Unless that kid's bought that phone with his own money, that's your phone as the adult.
When they're still living under my roof.
And I paid for the phone.
Yeah, it's not an invasion of privacy.
No, exactly. But he says, when we've seen the behavior and caught it, we discuss it and review and punish accordingly. My comment to my eldest is basically this. I don't want to involve myself directly in your personal life, so don't make it a requirement.
Right.
I'm not turning a blind eye, but you do need to give some control and responsibility to the child. I think that's a great way of parenting.
Yeah.
Not just say, no, you can't have this thing. Not just say restrict.
You can give them the responsibility, but you have to make them face, they make choices using those devices, and those choices have consequences. And you have to be there for them when those consequences are shitty. And it's not bad parenting, and it's not that they're a bad kid. It's just they're experimenting and using the device the way a lot of people, adults, use the device. But kids get into it, and then it's like, so you have to be there for them. Don't be like, oh my God, I'm going to take the phone off you and you're never going to use it again, when they fuck up.
I think, is there a market for these kind of basic phones for kids that will only allow them to text message dad, mom, and his brothers and sisters? They can't get on the internet? Or is that something you shouldn't even bother to try to do?
I think they're for the younger kids, so that you can keep in touch with the younger, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. But once they get 12 and older, they want to be, surfing the internet and be connected to the rest of the world. But they have to know the consequences of the choices they make while using those devices.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And people will disagree with me, and that's not a problem. I like my mother's method of parenting. Not but I understand it. My mother's method of parenting was to make me more afraid of her than anything else. That if I screwed up, it was going to cost me a lot in physical pain.
Yeah, no,
I know you're not that way, but for us, it worked. It meant if we had access to this stuff, we sure as shit wouldn't have been doing it. The other thing too is, like he said, let your kids know what you expect from them.
Yeah. That
these are the rules, and if you break the rules, here is the punishment. If I had kids, I wouldn't let them have a computer in their bedroom. The computer would be in the family room.
Yeah, we didn't until they were a lot older.
Yeah, when they're 16, 17, 18 years old, they're doing homework. But we're talking 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
You don't need, same with the TV. Kids don't need a TV in their...
No.
I didn't get my first phone. And probably this is the reason why I can be such an old curmudgeon about this. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was in my 30s.
I know, it was different.
So I'm not giving a 10-year-old a cell phone.
It was a different era
I know,
than us. Yeah,
I'm teasing.
Different. But, Matthew will say he's had both styles of parenting from his dad, my first husband, and Trevor. And Trevor doesn't believe in corporal punishment or physical punishment,
Sure,
and he taught me differently. When I was first married, yes, Matthew used to get his ass beaten, yeah. But Trevor wouldn't do that and taught me not to do that. And we talked to our kids and we would lecture our kids and both ways, not just stand there and talk to them. We'd expect, like, come on, so what have you got to say for yourself? Or like, what's your input here? What's the reason why? And blah, blah, blah. And Matthew will tell you to this day, he says he would sooner get his ass kicked
hell yes!
than a 3-hour lecture from
God, yes.
me or Trevor.
Yeah.
But I think the lecture actually works better. It does.
That's where my father was.
Because it stays with him.
My father never raised a hand to us.
No.
But I'd rather get a beating from Mom than a 3-hour lecture from Dad. It starts off with,
like,
I'm so disappointed in you. Oh, dude. Jesus.
Yeah.
I literally forced myself to cry because I wasn't used to this parenting. For me, it was screw up. Mom beats you.
You get whooped and then
whooped,
you carry on.
You go to your bedroom, you cry, you move on. It's over in 5 minutes. First time I did something wrong with my dad when I was living on my dad's farm, he sits me down and now he's talking and talking and talking and he's still talking. Like a half hour later, I'm like, what if I just start crying? Maybe he'll leave me alone. What are you crying about? I don't know.
Matthew used to faint.
Yep.
So Trevor would make a point of saying, okay, sit down. He'd make him sit down first.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd much rather get whooped. But the thing is that you guys did differently than even my dad did. Was back and forth. My father just lectured me for 3 hours.
We wanted input.
My father never asked, "Why'd you do this?" Or "This is what is." Oh.
Because we wanted to know why,
Sure.
and we wanted, was there some kind of understanding of what you did and why? Yeah.
Why do you like emojis so much? You're like a 14-year-old girl with all your emojis.
They're cute.
That's it. Is that
It's
it?
cool. I just look, is there one, that'll say this, or like a flag or a bunch of flowers or a glass of wine. I used a glass of wine the other day.
Do you have a list of favorite emojis too, or you have to go through all of them all the time?
No, they come up though.
Automatically?
If I've used them before, they come up automatically. But I think they're cool.
What do you think of Tears of Joy emoji winning Word of the Year from the Oxford English
No, I think it's
Dictionary?
bullshit because it's
you.
not a word.
not a
I
word.
thought when they said it, like I said to you, was the word emoji is very unusual.
Yep.
It's not a common word. I thought that would be Word of the Year, but not an actual symbol. How can a symbol be a word?
Yeah. How do you look up a word? How do you look up a symbol? It's just dumb.
Yeah.
But the other options aren't great either. Sharing economy, on fleek, ad blocker, refugee, dark web, lumbersexual. None of those are words I would pick as the word of the year.
Refugee, that's been around for
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
Why is that?
It's in the news, but it's not. No,
Okay.
it's not like it's a new or special word. Yeah,
And I've never and those ones that say they're in the news, like lumberjack, what? Sexual?
lumbersexual.
Lumbersexual. I don't know what that means.
It means Canadian.
You have sex on your back? Lumbar sexual? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lumbar sexual. It's a whole different thing. Lumbersexual, a young urban man who cultivates an appearance and style of dress typified by a beard and check shirt, suggestive of a rugged outdoor lifestyle. We call them
like you say
hipsters.
Canadian.
They're Canadians, exactly. Or hipsters.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's just a completely idiotic
No.
word of the. I would have been okay with emoji, but in our starting point photography segment on this week's show, I did a couple of photography classes over the weekend. Had a great time teaching in a pub. Thanks to the nice folks at Mahoney and Sons. It's a pub downtown Vancouver. Kind of a pseudo-Irish pub. Great staff there. The staff have been always wonderful. Miriam and Gordon and Stacy, all those guys are fantastic. And we talked about it on last week's show, and I showed it to Kim, the video. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, of the 6 photographers and the one guy. But all 6 photographers have been given a different piece of information, a different story of the one guy. He was a millionaire, or he was psychic, or he was an ex-con, or a fisherman, or whatever it might be. And it was really interesting watching the video to see how the photographer took that piece of information and used it to create the photographs. And I think if you looked at the 6 photos and looked at the 6 words or the 6 occupations, you probably could have fitted most of the words to the photo. The photo of him from the photographer who thought he was a millionaire, the guy looked very confident and very. The photo of him as an ex-con looked very harsh and creepy. The farmer, the fisherman one, maybe not so much those, but there are some that were really obvious that the photographer said, okay, this guy is an ex-con, so I'm going to shoot him in an ex-con kind of way. And we all know what that kind of picture looks like. So it got me thinking about a concept I've had for a while now. When Kim and I this past summer rode around this area, and it's really, really pretty around here, out past the little town called Agassiz. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a farm.
Agassiz, I know Agassiz.
No. This story. There was a farm we drove by every single time, and the farm had a field, and in the field the farmer had cleared a bunch of brush from the woods around him and just stacked it up in the field. And the brush looked really, really interesting. It was really gnarly old trees, and there were no leaves on it. It just had this bone kind of look to it. We kept driving by, kept thinking, I got to stop and take this picture. To me, it really spoke to me for whatever reason. And it wasn't until like a couple months later, and I'm riding by myself, thinking, oh yeah, I'll go over to that farmer and take that picture. And I rode over to it, and the brush was gone. The farmer had cleared the brush. He'd wood chipped it or whatever he'd done. So that picture is gone. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to see that picture again. That picture only exists in my head. And it's something I've been working on with the class, of the idea of there are some pictures that are never going to happen again. And if you're there, you have to take that picture, because you're the only person in the world who sees that picture in that way. Just like the photographer saw the ex-con in a certain way, you're the only one who sees this moment in time in this way. And it's almost an obligation for you to take the picture. There was a very interesting story on a website that I frequent called Petapixels, and they had a really neat story about, let me move this here, why old sport photos often have a blue tinge. And I hadn't thought about this. I've seen these photos before, but I never really, let me put this on full screen, never really thought about why these photos have this look to them. That's a photo I've seen 1,000 times. It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back then. He was still Lou Alcindor playing for UCLA. You notice that blue haze there. What do you think that's caused by?
I don't know. The indoor arena, the smoke, and
exactly, the smoke. That's cigarette smoke.
Oh.
That picture will never happen again.
Ah.
Because we're not allowed to smoke in these places anymore.
Right.
So this is an image that will never occur again.
Why does it go blue?
Because if you look at cigarette smoke, it's got a blue tinge to it.
Oh, okay.
It reflects light in the blue spectrum.
Okay.
Actually, if you scroll down, you can see these are pictures taken recently, and look at the backgrounds. Black.
Yeah, I was going to go black.
These are the pictures that we now see as being black backgrounds.
Nice. Much better.
Here's an example of a wrong screen. Let me go back up to here. Here's an example of an image that is never going to happen again. I've shown this one to Kim. Look at that image on the left-hand side. This is a Statue of Liberty. But the Statue of Liberty in this image is golden colored.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
She's brand new.
That's the original color of the Statue of Liberty.
Mm.
We think of it as being that wonderful green, but that green is because the copper that she's really made of has oxidized. Mm. Copper is that brown gold color. And now that it's oxidized, it's now that green color. My first thought is, how beautiful would the Statue of Liberty have been at sunrise and sunset with that?
Oh, when it was brand new?
With that color.
Yeah.
It would have been just spectacular. I mean, it would have shined in just amazing ways. It doesn't now. It's still
like
very
an
pretty.
Oscar.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But these are shots that are never going to happen again. Mm-hmm. The next shot is a very famous shot of Grand Central Station, Grand Central Terminal in New York City. And same thing, I asked him about this one. Why you cannot capture this shot anymore? And there's two reasons why. Kim?
Right. One is because there are high-rise buildings along the side of it now that block the light from coming in those windows.
I've been in that spot in Grand Central Station to recreate this picture. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the light that way. And it's because of that. I hadn't realized that. It's because the buildings block the sun out. And the second reason?
And the light needs something to reflect from, and it's cigarette smoke again.
That's right.
Yeah.
In those days, I think the shot was taken in the 40s, you could still smoke in Grand Central Station. And so that, you're right, the lights reflecting off the cigarette smoke and giving these wonderful, beautiful beams of light. This photo can never happen again. So I encourage folks to, when you're being a photographer, take the shot. Even if you think, it's not, take it. Take the picture. Force yourself to take the picture, because only you see it in that particular way. And there are plenty of times when that shot will never happen again. Brian says, Shawn, also now they've changed how they light stadiums as well. That's also true. Monty says the only reason you can see the light is because of the diffusion from the smoke. MacMan says that photo can't be of the original, can it? Was there even color film in 1886? MacMan, that the photo isn't of the original Statue of Liberty on the day of it was there. It probably took, that's a good question, it probably took 50, 60 years for the copper to oxidize to the green that we get it now. So, let's get some emails, folks. As always, we love getting emails from you guys, or I do. I don't think Kim does. I don't think you care, do you?
I don't care one way or the other. You can say what the F you want.
Send these emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com or send the emails to me at Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com.
Yeah, send them to him.
Yes, send it to me. Our friend John Goebel in West L.A., California, was listening to last week's show, and if by chance you haven't found a good email client for your co-host, I highly recommend Mozilla Thunderbird, the open source email client developed by the same organization that develops the Firefox web browser. It's the default email client on most Linux systems. Does that sound interesting to you?
I don't know.
No, the answer is no. No, thanks, John.
No idea.
I appreciate that, but I'm not setting Kim up with a Linux-based operating system, Linux-based mail client.
I don't know.
You don't need that stuff.
I don't know what it means.
Exactly. You need to send mail. You need to receive mail.
Yeah,
That's it.
I just want to keep to my email address that I've already got that's on my resume. That's the main thing. I just want to, until I get a job, then you can do whatever the fuck you want with my email. I really don't care.
You don't need anything fancy on your email.
Yeah.
Our buddy Jason Painter, I'm more into gaming in the Apple TV than I thought I would be. The key is the App Store and how it simply translates to a different screen. I used to play all my games on the iPad. Now I play half of them on the Apple TV. It helps that waking up the Apple TV and TV is very fast. You can be playing a game in seconds. Given that you'll usually still have a game or two running in the background, it eliminates launch time. This is in contrast to firing up a console. It's good, equal, or worse at specific games. Alto's Adventure, equally good in the iPad or Apple TV. Jetpack Joyride, another endless runner with one button. However, the implementation is not as good as on the iPad. And Air Wings, a flight sim. Oh my God, this is so much better on the Apple TV with a game controller rather than the iPad. Fellow truck driver Gary Apter in Boise, Idaho says Kim is correct.
Yes, my trucker buddies.
You finished?
Yay.
Talking about automatics. The newer the tractor, the more likely the transmission is to be automatic.
Yeah.
He says, I wasn't happy with it at first, but after a while I got used to it. Why wouldn't you be happy with it? Have you ever driven an automatic truck?
No, I've been in them. I haven't driven them. I've been in them with a guy driving a semi-automatic gearbox in a truck. It's just different. You got that control over it more when it's standard. Yeah, like it's you picking the shift, picking the gear, up, down, hill, you know, weather conditions, everything. It's just like,
Gary says decelerating must reflect the surface conditions. Braking versus downshifting and a combination of those depend on dry pavement or something else on the surface and the load.
Yes.
Yeah, I had no idea that.
Trucker buddies.
A follow-up. Jason Painter says about the Apple TV, the initial setup process is fantastic, where you bring your iPhone close and it picks up the Wi-Fi details and more. So literally to set up the Apple TV, you just put your phone near it, and it grabs the details off your phone to set up your Apple TV.
Grabs what off your phone?
Wi-Fi passwords and other information like that. What?
I don't know, all this shit. Like, everybody's got every access to everything. It's like, why do I bother with passwords because I think you have access to everything that's on this phone now.
Why?
Because I what's the word? Back it up, because you say back it up
Yes.
so that there's something here on your iMac,
Yes.
whatever, which is fine. But then, and I get all these messages saying, oh, so-and-so's on your Facebook and so-and-so's doing this and this with your Apple ID. And I'm like, well, how come you've got my Apple ID and you're using it to download some app today? And I'm like, oh, my God, just because Apple connects to Apple and I'm plugging it into your Apple device, other Apple device, it just takes it as, okay, it's all Apple. We're all good here. Everybody knows everything about Kim's iPhone.
Two things. First of all, your iPhone is encrypted when it gets backed up.
Okay.
So no one else can look at it. It can't be.
So even though it's backed up to one of your Apple products,
It's backed up on this machine to
Right.
Kim's MacBook Air. Remember we set up your own account?
yeah.
And it says, what does it say up here? It says Shawn up here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When it's logged into Kim, it says Kim up there.
Okay.
So think of this as two separate computers.
Yeah.
Right now you're using Shawn's, but you can switch over to be using Kim's.
Right.
So when the backup happens, it's backed up to Kim's machine. Shawn's machine can't access that.
No.
You can actually open up the folder in here and
I mean, not that it's your fault, but you know my password, so you have access to everything anyway.
Yeah,
Because you know my password.
But to encrypt, I can't double click on the unencryption file on the computer.
Okay.
I can only unencrypt it using your iPhone.
Oh.
It can't be unencrypted by like it says, say it was a photo, and you encrypted it as a backup. I couldn't double click on the file and have it show me that photo, even if I knew your password. It only works if you're going to take the data here and put it back on the iPhone.
Okay.
It's a one-way process, and I have to have the iPhone physically in my hand to be able
So
to do that.
how come you ended up using my Apple ID
Yep.
to download an app today?
Because I was in the Kim section of the thing. No, it wasn't. It was just happened to be from the last time you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not knocking you.
No, I
I'm just
understand.
saying it's
I
just
understand.
how come you're on the app the Kim bit
Yep.
that uses my Apple ID.
Because the last time we did a backup, I didn't log out and switch to the Kim thing.
Right. So when
And
you're
so-
logged in as still on Kim, it thinks it's me.
Yes, it used your Apple ID.
So wouldn't that mean you can access everything that I can on my iPhone,
No, because I didn't have your iPhone.
but you're still logged on as me?
Yes, but I'm not logged on to your iPhone. I'm logged on to your computer,
Okay.
but I'm not logged on to your iPhone.
Okay.
What's on your iPhone stays in your iPhone.
Oh, okay.
We can, if you choose, we can get rid of that Kim partition on this and never do the backups again. I just
Okay.
know you. I know you don't do backups at home.
No, I don't.
And I don't want you to lose your phone or lose your pictures or
Right.
or lose your data.
Yeah.
Because that would be a giant pain in the butt.
No, I
if
just
you did.
wondered how much of it anyone else could see
yeah.
once I've done the backup thing.
They
and
definitely
plugged
need
in.
with the backup. It basically takes all the data off your phone,
Mm-hmm.
screws it all up,
Mm.
and then hides it on your phone or on your laptop.
Right.
Like I don't even know where
But
it would
someone
be.
else, even with my password, can't access the info on the laptop unless they have my phone.
Exactly, because it's all messed up here. I know where that messed up file is, and you can double click on it. Nothing's going to happen. Apple will not
Right.
let you open that file up.
Okay.
It just will not open up. There's nothing that can open that file
Okay,
up
that's all.
until you have that phone
I
plugged
just
in.
wondered how it worked. Yeah.
Because the idea is the only reason you have this backup is in case you lose the phone.
Yeah. 'Cause-
And so what happens is you plug in your new phone and you give the password on your new phone. And it goes, okay, I'll open this up and put it on the phone. No one else
Ah.
can see it. I'm just going to put it on the phone, and then I'll
So,
encrypt it again.
password, you see, you said
Yes.
that again. You know, because you know my password. But, so, you're still telling me you can't do it without the phone,
Correct. Absolutely.
even though you know my password,
Yes.
because it's generic for everything. Tell the
Even though I
world.
tried to get you not to do that.
You still can't.
Correct.
Okay.
Without having access to your phone.
Okay.
I cannot get at that information on there because it's
Okay.
encrypted. And
There's nothing,
and-
like I said, there's nothing
Oh,
top
no, I-
secret on my
I
phone.
understand.
I'm just wondering
Yep.
how it all works. And okay, now
Yep.
I get it.
It's
Okay.
that's why you encrypt your backup. It's an option when you do your backups. A little button you say encrypt and asks you for your password, and it goes boop. Okay, no one's ever going to be Apple.
Do you encrypt my backup?
Yes, well,
'Cause
absolutely I
don't
do.
know.
No, I absolutely do. I encrypt
I
everything.
see.
I
Okay.
absolutely encrypt everything.
Okay.
Because if this phone, the reason why, the other thing, this is a discussion that we were having before, is the government. That's why the government wants to put
Okay.
what?
Monty. I'm just reading what Monty said.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Monty
Thank
says
you.
the backup of your iPhone is only readable by your iPhone, even if it wasn't encrypted. Unless you're an Uber nerd, most humans can't read the contents of the backup, and
Right.
I'm certainly not an Uber nerd.
Yeah, right.
But once
okay.
it's encrypted, nobody can get at it,
Okay.
even though it's a file on this laptop.
Yeah.
I
not
can
even
double
a
click on the
nerd.
file. Not even a
Yeah.
nerd can get it.
Okay.
Unless they hack your password
Yeah.
and have access to your phone.
Right.
They got to have both
Both.
things.
Okay.
They can't,
Good.
If I don't know your password and I've got your phone, can't do anything about it.
Okay.
If I've got your password but not your phone, can't do anything about it. I need to have
Oh,
both
okay.
of those things.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Cool.
I didn't realize this was an issue for you. I'm sorry. I mean, if
No, it's
you
not
look
an
at
issue for me. I just didn't really understand it, and I just thought, okay, so he has my password, so that means he has this. And then if you downloaded that on my Apple ID,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, that's his being me, and I'm like,
Yep.
I don't.
And I didn't even notice I was doing that. Like I said,
Right.
it was downloading a caffeine app, and caffeine's a little app that makes the machine not go to sleep. It's a free app. I use it all the
Yes.
time. And I noticed, well, that's weird. Why isn't caffeine on? And so I just went to the Mac App Store, did a search for caffeine, said download. It said, yeah, and then it downloaded, and away I went without realizing I was using your Apple Store ID. My
Okay.
apologies. I shouldn't have done that. I should have paid attention. And
No, it's okay. It's just the email comes up because Apple's good like
yeah.
that. It
Oh,
tells you,
absolutely.
and I'm like, what the F? What the F?
What the F? Yeah. Good. I'm glad that hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
Jason says, no, all right, that was not last week. And I'm going to save that one for next week. We're out of time, folks. I want to say thanks very much, as always, to our good friend Jim Downpour from The Loop at loopinsight.com for joining us. Also to you guys for being tuned in here each and every week, whether you're listening in via the archive or really listening in, all the cool kids listening in live. Our Sly couldn't make it again tonight, so sorry, Sly. Sorry you weren't here. Don't forget the Apple TV contest. We're giving away a 64-gigabyte Apple TV on the first show in December. So just go to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com and click on the entry form at the very top of the page, Friends of Your Mac Life. And once a month, do that once a month. And it sends me an email, and I drop your name into our virtual hat. Or we would prefer if you could subscribe, because if you subscribe to Your Mac Life for $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, then it sends me that money out of your PayPal account or your major credit card. And this doesn't happen. I don't run out of beer. I ran out of beer. I don't have any more beer left. I'll buy beer with the money you send me. And if you subscribe to Your Mac Life, you get additional entry forms into all of our contests for every $2 above the initial $2. So thanks very much for doing that, if you so choose. I want to say thanks, as always, to Kim for being on the show. Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
And folks, until next week, I've been... Folks, until next week, I've been...
Well, you're Shawn King, and I'm...
a pain in the ass.
Okay. Yep.
Are you going to do it?
I am Kim Guy.
So you've completely ruined the flow of the end of the show.
You changed it.
How did I change? What did I change?
You went, I've been.
Uh-huh.
Well, I never answer Shawn King.
All right, so
You always answer yourself, and I'm me. Hello.
let's start over. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll fix it in post. Don't worry about it. As always, I've been Shawn King, and
I'm always Kim Guy.
you've been listening to Your Mac Life. Till next week. Thanks, folks. See ya.
This is Sparta!